So do I have to leave the stage or
Hello,
should I?
everyone. Hello, everyone. Very good afternoon to all of you. I am Vishali, welcoming you all on behalf of Solar Quarter and First View Group to our today's virtual conference on Oman Solar Week 2022. Thank you all the attendees for joining us today. I hope all the attendees had a great time networking with your peers at our exhibition tables. We will have that networking session again after the panel discussion as well. So, now let me quickly take you through the agenda for today. We will be having two sessions. Our first session will be on the scaling up growth opportunities, challenges, and market outlook. And after that, in the second session, you will hear our experts panelists discuss the big tech trends shaping large solar scale. Let's start with our first panel discussion, in which our expert panelists will discuss the scaling up growth opportunities, challenges, and market outlook. And to discuss this, we will have in the panel with us Mr. Ibrahim Ahmed Radi, Green Innova. He is moderator. Mr. Mohammad Al Rashdi, Muscat Electricity Distribution Company. Mr. Musab Al Farsi, Nafat Renewable Energy. Mr. Shivank Tiwari, Omasco Afanthim. Mr. Swapnil Singhai, Oman Solar System Company. Mr. Nat Vora, Solarwadi. Before handing over the session to Ibrahim sir, I would like to make a small announcement to all the attendees. If you have any questions during the discussion, please post them in the Q&A box. Our panelists will take all the questions in the end of the discussion. Now I welcome all the panelists on the screen and request Ibrahim sir to lead the discussion. Over to you, sir. Sir, you are on mute. I'm so sorry.
Thank you very much for your open speech. I really welcome everybody joining us today in this session. We are very happy to start the Oman Solar Week. And today we have very distinguished speakers with us that hopefully we will be talking about the total or overall ecosystems of solar in Oman. We will be talking about first about the government, their initiatives, the policies. Then we will dive into the current, installation and how is the markets being from the EPC perspective, developer perspective, and what is the adaptation for different sectors in terms of CNI sector, residential sector, and commercial sector. Plus, later on, we will shed some lights on the finance. What are the financing options in Oman for developers and for the also end user? So, without further ado, I welcome our speakers, and I would be happy to start with Mr. Mohammed Rashdi, and he will be speaking to us about government. So my question for Mohammed is, would you be able to tell us a little bit more about the government, the current government policies, initiatives to push the drive into the solar system?
Ibrahim sir, I'm so sorry. Mr. Mohammed is not here. You can continue discussion with Swapnil. I'm just sorting out with Mr. Mohammed so he can join back.
Okay, I will go for Mus'ab then now. So, Mus'ab, can you tell us, as of now, what are the current installed capacity and what are the current tariffs in Oman and whether it is different from residential and commercial and industrial? So I appreciate you. Is Mus'ab around? Okay, Mus'ab is not here as well.
Yes, Musab is also not here. So two speakers are not here. I'm trying to get in touch with him.
Okay. So we will start with Mr. Sangai. Sangai, can you tell us which sectors in terms of solar utility scale or CNI or domestics are more adaptable to solar system in Oman? And if you can share with us why, the adaptation is different if there's any.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. Thank you very much for inviting. This is a wonderful, I think, event we all were eagerly looking for. This is Oman Solar, and we are, as a company, we are from Oman Solar Systems. So, just to brief you, Oman Solar is around 30-year-old company. We
I think that's a challenge with the,
year old, and we are the only company who is still live. Coming back to the question about these three segments, so basically we are talking about residential, C&I, commercial and industrial, and third is utility scale. So when
Yes.
we see Oman, Oman has come up with the rooftop schemes and programs by mid 2017, and we as a Oman Solar, as a company, we has been serving to these market, not only Oman, even rest of the Middle East countries since 1991. So
Yes.
we are very much engaged and involved in most of the ground work which we have executed so far. Now, rooftop is something which is really coming up very well in the market, and we all are thankful to the government and their initiatives which they have taken. Now, if you see the adaptation,
Okay. I think we are losing also Sangai. Okay. And we have now Muhammad is on board. Um, we are facing, sorry for facing some technical difficulties and to that. So we'll just wait for a while. Otherwise, we will shift to another speaker. Okay. Any of the speaker can just continue with Sangai was talking about the different sectors and how they are operating, the adaptation.
look, I'm not an expert on the technical side of things, but like I said, the sectors that really need to adapt to moving towards renewable energy are, of course, the commercial and the industrial sector, being large users of electricity otherwise. And what at the same time, for the growth to be to have an impetus, this needs to be on the residential side, especially if we could have real estate developers. If we could have real estate developers that actually can, from the very beginning, right, they're building a project, try to adapt and have a solar plant with the housing development. So those are the kind of things that we really look at. For Solar Wadi, we have not onto the residential side. We're basically more focused on the commercial and the industrial sector. So something like malls, industries, manufacturing companies, and those kind of things. So I would say that the reason, of course, one of the more major reasons for moving to renewables is the fact that we are all now living in an age where climate change has become very important. And how do we manage climate change and tone down the effects of climate change?
Yes.
Yeah, given that, we actually need to slowly have all the industries move away from traditional fossil fuels towards renewable energy. I think so.
So you believe more of the industrial and commercial side, say segment are picking up.
I believe all segments of society should be, but at the end of the day, yes, the impetus will come from the industry, and the industry needs to adapt for the ESG back because over a period of time, ESG reporting and all that, that's going to be very important as well.
Yes.
But then, of course, the second part, we are all businessmen at the end of the day. So as long as there is commercial incentive to do the business, we will do.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Going back to Sangai, so what we have understood as of now is that CNI and utility scale is of higher demand rather than domestic. And from an EPC point of view, as Oman Solar System, what are the government, let's say, the facilities that government is providing for the EPC, and what are the challenges, let's say, that face EPC on the ground when it comes to the implementation of solar system?
Okay. See, I think I got missed in between in the discussion. So just to touch upon these three categories:
Yes.
commercial, residential, and utility. So if you see the total consumption of the Oman as a country, we got around 40.
Okay. We're very sorry
Technical
for
challenges don't leave us.
having these challenges with all the speakers all at once. Okay. So, Muhammad, you are around there? Can you tell us your mind, please?
Hi.
Okay. Then we'll speak again. Yeah. Okay.
I do not know.
Please continue.
Okay, so
Okay.
I think better to Muhammad that.
Let's go for Muhammad, our first speaker. Muhammad, can you share with us the current government policies, initiatives that support the solar systems in Oman, being the senior renewable energy at Muscat Electricity and Distribution Company?
So, thank you for giving me the chance to talk today. First of all, Oman in the past 10 years, or let's say from the past 30 years, actually have put the plans and the strategy to reuse or use the renewable resources, starting from wind, solar, all the renewable resources what we have in the country, alhamdulillah. And in the country, we the last 10 years, we put plans for a large scale solar plants, generation plants for the country. And we also start encouraging also our customers in the small scale to also, install the solar system, distribution generation.
Okay.
So in the past, from the guidelines and the strategy and the guidelines and the rules for solar systems, small scale solar system, actually launched in May 2017. In the same time, the country already put the plans for the first mega project as a generation plants, and already commissioned last year, 500 mega every two. And they have a big plan of to reach 2 gigawatt from a solar system, solar plants. And
Plan when is it due? The 2 mega?
so in the mix, it will be the plan is up to 2025, up to 25. So they have a plan to reach some 20% of the energy generation from renewable resources. And they have another plans, of course, for other renewable, for example, winds, and they have also solar thermal. Also, it's one of they have a plant. They want to make the first one in a Tokom, 200 mega. So they have a lot of plans, and currently we are switching and we are changing the mind to commercial project in green hydrogen. The country found that there is a big feasibility in going to green hydrogen, and we already have starting doing the plan in the past 2 years, and we have almost 10 to 12 projects right now already announced in the past year, with a total capacity of 30 gigawatts combined from solar and wind. Is
It's very impressive. Mohammed, what is the current policies right now? Do you have a net metering policy or feed-in tariff? Is there any sort of like a mandatory energy mix for the developers? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So for a small project or a small scale project, we have net metering for self investment. So for example, if the customer of the client who want to invest them, install some solar system in his location or his property, he can do that. I mean, he can. We have already some approved list, contractor lists here in Oman for a solar construction EPC contractors, and we started from the past 2 years approving also lease project, which is a little bit different from a PPA project. It's for a special, if for the case if there is a third developer, a third party in the project,
Yes.
and this one it's come with the special conditions like zero export to the distribution network, so it's just for self consumption. Whereas for a self investment, no, it is there is a net billing, so there is a tariff, different tariffs for how much you export back to the distribution network. And we work side by side with the ABSR, with all the distribution companies, with all the contractor, all the stockholders in this field, to try to improve and maximize the benefit for the customer, for the country, for all the parties.
Excellent. Speaking about the tariffs, what are the current tariffs now in Oman, and how do you think it will evolve in the future? Is it increasing? Is it decreasing?
Okay, so for tariff right now, the current tariff actually for the importing, electricity from the distribution network is very, I would say it's very cheap. I would say we are talking about 14 paisa per kilowatt hour, and for residential subsidies, residential category, and we have for commercial, for example, we are reaching almost 20 paisa for kilowatt hours. But we have also for large customers, we have a cost reflective tariff, which is the real cost of the project of the of the electricity. And during the initiative of the solar system for a small scale, the
Yes.
ABSR, the country actually set PST tariff or bulk supply tariff as the export tariff for the solar generation, for us the surplus energy coming back to the distribution network, which is for example for residential is very encouraging, because the difference, there is some specific difference between how much you import and how much you export back.
Okay. Okay.
And we have a big plan to improve it more, and we are thinking to go to more initiative to do like bulk tenders for the customers, so that will minimize the costs for the customers, and increase the distribution generation in the country.
So this is one of the upcoming tenders. Let's say is like a bulk of houses, residential
Exactly.
houses,
Exactly. Yeah.
for houses that is belongs to the government, or for
No, no. It will be no. It will be the distribution company. It will be working as a middleman, where it's tender the contract, tender the projects for the in behalf of the customers, and later on they will recommend the best contractor, the best project, and will give it with a special price for this type of project. And this, of course, will minimize the cost. We are thinking that it might affect the cost maybe 10 to 15%.
Yes. What other tenders you think is coming in pipeline? Let's say in the coming.
Actually, we noticed starting from this year that the tender is coming back strongly, and we are seeing the project is increasing rapidly. We are seeing, for example, at the beginning of this year, we are expecting to reach something around 13, 12 mega, but right now we are talking about 17 mega. This is the approved, already submitted document. What already negotiated right now under negotiation, we're talking about 25 mega. So this is something is not small, and we didn't expect this number of project is coming. And we are trying, for example, to support as a distribution company, trying to support the client so that they got the best. Deal the best tender, the best equipment actually they are using. We are doing a lot of back work to support the clients, to support the contractor.
Clients being a private sector as well as public sector, or you are supporting only the.
We are supporting everyone. We are supporting the private sector. We are supporting the government sector. We are supporting. We try our best to help the solar sector here in Oman to develop more and more and make it more mature.
Is there any financial, let's say, financial support grants, for example, or tax, for example, removal that encourage the people from the government perspective?
We are trying to we actually here in Oman right now a lot of the major challenges is in the financial support and some of the banks start giving green loans and we are expecting more and more and we are trying our best so that at least they minimize the percentage so that at least the customer get more and more benefit of the solar system. And we have a big plan, for example, in the next 3 years or the next years that the electrical tariff will be increased more. Right now, it's almost 14 paisa for the sponsor. So this one, of course, will make it more feasible for the residential customer, for example, to go for solar systems.
And the tariff will increase for all the different segments, like industry, residential, as well as the commercial, or
I would say no. It gets only for no because right now the commercial, for example, we are talking about 21 to 29 visa, which is almost close by to the zero subsidy, and very close by. And
Okay.
for residential, no, we are talking about 14. We are expecting something around another 20, 25 something in the next years, which will be, of course, affecting their bill, and that means that it will be need more and more of it will be the solar solution will be a good solution to support their bills. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Mohammed, for your insights. A lot of good information, and we will get back to you
Of course.
for further discussion as well. Mus'ab, are you with us?
Yes, I am. I think you are able to hear me.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, great. That's
Having
good.
you, Mus'ab, with us.
Thank you.
Today.
Thank you very much.
Mus'ab, if you can, you are an EPC, you are on the ground. Can you tell us, first of all, how much is the current installed, let's say, capacity? How much we could see really in Oman from solar system? And what is your, let's say, future expectation for the solar system?
Okay, great.
Adaptation.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim, and thank you for the team who are organizing this event. I believe this is a good gathering, which can basically give us insight about the market in Oman, give you insight about the market and other markets as well. So for the installed capacity in Oman, and since the removal, I would say, of the subsidies in the basically commercial sector since 2017, we have seen really a good growth and demand in the renewable energy sector. Also in 2017, there was the introduction of the policies and regulations which are regulating the market here in Oman. Since then, the demand keeps growing year by year, and we can see that, especially when it comes to the utility scale, we have around the installed capacity around 625 megawatts already operating. We have 500 megawatts in Ibri, 100 megawatts with PDO, 25 megawatts operating in Suhar. So all of these basically plants are utility scale, and they are feeding either private or basically public sector with OPWP. When it comes to the commercial sector, as Mohammed mentioned, we are really seeing a very good growth also in the distributed generation, I would call it. Give it a number. In Nafad ourselves, we have installed around 9 megawatts in all of Oman, and more than 9 megawatts actually. And in all of Oman, I'm expecting between 15 to 20 megawatts distributed generation, with the hopes that this number would double, inshallah, in the next 2 years, as we are seeing an exponential, basically, requirements of especially the commercial industrial sector. And with the boost in the schemes, as Mohammed mentioned, the residential schemes would also boost the installation when it comes to bulk installations. as now we are seeing in PDO scheme targeting more than 1,000 homes, to be honest,
Very
to be
nice.
installed. Yeah. So all of this actually is representing the installation capacity in Oman, and this is still basically considered a small percentage compared to the total demand in Oman, which is somewhere between 9 to 10 gigawatts or 8 to 10 gigawatts of basically demand. And inshallah, this is also expecting to be year by year increased by 5 to 10% as well.
Excellent. No, actually, the overall of 600, it's only in say utility scale is very advanced, and mashallah, it's growing. Also, I really like that, let's say, the innovative way of having the bulk purchase. I think this is a new innovative way to tackle, that not every single owner is doing by his own, and the proxy, or let's say the protection, is coming from the government to support that. It's something I would say markets has to learn from Oman.
True. See, and we highly appreciate. I mean, the government represented by the authority itself is furnishing all of these basically through Engineer Mohammed Al Rashidi, who is really giving great support to all of the companies, be it the companies, be it the end users as well. So all of this is considered as support extended from the government in order to furnish this sector.
Excellent. Musab, we always believe that there is always room for improvements.
True.
So, what do you think further intervention required from, let's say, the government of other or even other stakeholders in the solar system, that you think that will take another jump as well in the solar industry?
See, normally there are certain factors which could enhance growth when it comes to the demand of a renewable energy sector. First of all, it comes from the top of the pyramid, which is the government policies. Basically, starting from there, the policies can themselves encourage increasing growth and demand in the renewable energy sector, be it wind or even solar. But there are some underlying, I would say, steps that government is doing now or could do to boost the growth of this market.
Yes.
For example, removing taxes, import taxes in Oman for renewable energy items such as PV models. By the way, PV models is already done. The taxes are removed. So in Oman, there is no tax when it comes. Yeah. Also, this could be extended to the other basically parts. Also, by allowing the customers, the end users, to increase the capacity, lifting the caps a little bit up in order to increase the installation amount and have the end user benefit from his consumption and also from the export of the energy. One thing that could actually boost the growth of this market is allowing the wheeling policies. You see, so in countries, in some countries, you could install a power plant in a location and actually utilize the power in another location. This is
Yes.
called wheeling. And I believe this, if it's introduced, and what the information I have, Mohammed could correct me, that this is being studied by the authority and will be basically launched in the coming year, I believe.
We
So
call this feed-in tariff here,
yes.
and I think it's the same. I think yes, absolutely. It's still not yet, but I think it will add a lot of value. Yes.
True, Oman. Oman is basically wide ranged, and there are vast spaces which could be utilized, and of course not utilized by urban basically development, but could be utilized for renewable energy generation in the most concentrated resources area in Oman. Say it in the middle of Oman, in Al Wasta, near Al all of these places could be good basically examples to boost the wheeling schemes. Also,
Um,
yeah,
Having this large installation as of right now, maybe close to 800, 900 now, plus the forecast of future growth. Um, How do you see the, let's say, the capacity building of the people, the PV professionals in the market? And if you can also share with us some specific on building the capacity of Omani in that sector.
Great question, to be honest. So the capacity building, I would say, in Oman started immediately after the basically floating of the regulation, which can organize the market. But what we are seeing is that the government in the big tenders, I would give an example with OPWP, for example, in 500 megawatts, they allowed from 10 to 20% in-country value percentage in these big projects, which basically make it eligible for this, or make it a must for these big companies to actually participate or train national basically talents in order to have experience or to build experience in renewable energy sectors. We are also seeing big efforts from the oil and gas companies, basically having some CSR projects here and there, and giving it to small and medium enterprises from basically zero to commissioning, from A to Z scopes. So all of this is considered really great capacity building or capability building, I would say. Also, we have, for example, an institute called DCRB, Distribution Code Review Panel, which actually is organizing also the training for certifying professionals, especially Omanis, for installation of solar systems. So they themselves, they furnish the way to approve institutions to give valid certifications for the professionals in Oman to carry on installations.
Excellent.
So
Thank you.
all of these efforts actually gathered together would create national capability building. And I believe this also could be replicated in other countries. But to be honest, it's starting from the top down. Yeah.
Excellent. I think the mixing of let's say foreign expertise plus the local energy and local capacity, it's give you the international really standard. So I really congratulate you on this initiatives and having these capacities in place. Now moving to thank you, Musab, for your admin. I will come back to you, inshallah. Now, talking to Mr. Tiwari. Mr. Tiwari, you are with us?
Hello.
Yes, hello. Can you raise your voice so we can hear you?
Okay. Is it
Excellent.
audible now?
Yes. Thanks, Tiwari, for joining us. Tiwari is the Assistant Manager of Renewable Energy at Moscow Al Futtaim.
Yeah.
So to start with, with your as a very active member, let's say players in the solar industry, can you tell us about how the easiness of doing the business in terms of executing the solar projects in Oman, and what kind of facility that you are receiving, and if you can make a small distinguish between the on-grid and off-grid system in Oman's market.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ibrahim, and thank you, Solar Quarter, for arranging this webinar. And it's been a really great experience till now. A lot of insights from the participants and the speakers. I am from Oman Marketing and Services. It's Omasco. We are a subsidiary of Al Futtaim Group of Dubai, and we have been in Oman per se from 1976 onwards. And after 2017, we also started, like others, the journey to in solar business. Coming to your question, ease of working or executing any particular residential or commercial project. It's like, I would say it's mixed. I can neither say it's easy or it's very difficult. But in one word, you can say it's not very easy. Discons like MEDC, Mazoon, Dofarpar, Tanveer, all discons, they are very supportive, as Musab also told, and I think every one of us will agree. And all are willing to help the EPC companies, and they do whatever possible from their side to help the contractor within the guidelines set under APSR. And however, there are one key requirement that we face specifically in almost all the projects being rooftop projects is the municipality approval. Sometimes civil defense, but civil defense we don't require mostly, but mainly municipality approvals, which are required during design stage approval with the discoms. And it is actually sometimes quite difficult to manage, not because we don't want to take the approvals, but because the reasons are that there are no clear guidelines, that's what we feel, or defined rules under which all municipalities in Oman can function in a uniform way. For example, if you have a project outside Muscat, you may be required to submit a different set of documents which you cannot anticipate at the time of acquiring the project.
I
And it
see.
is very difficult for an EPC to know all the rules of all the municipalities. And even if you try and ask them, it may not be a surprise that they are not aware about it, like what is solar and how is it.
Yes.
And another thing is, further, in order to take such approvals, the clients should have complete architectural and structural drawings of the house, no matter how old the construction is. New constructions are fine, they have all the drawings and everything. But what about the buildings which are 20 years old, 15 years old? They can also go for solar. There is no harm in that. But they require the complete set of drawings, which are almost always non-existing. So that is a challenge for the customers. Customers with old houses, no matter how well built it is, they
Yes.
need to spend that extra money, time, resources. And actually, this is, to be honest, on a solar way, it's a non-productive activity, which is just adding to the cost of implementing the solar energy for that particular project. And this is not a secret that price for residential solar systems in Oman is not very low like the other countries. So this is just adding cost to, and it will not be a minor cost for when we are considering a 10 kilowatt, 15 kilowatt project. So these things make it difficult for the customers to get
So what is
themselves
the
ready.
suggestion you think is like having a centralized, for example, authority that promote solar system? Is like how this can
I
be done?
think, like what I said, all municipalities sometimes are not aware. So what we expect is a uniform set of rules and application. Like when you go for approvals for discounts, like MEDC Mazoon, more or less it's similar. If you have worked with MEDC Mazoon, you know that because all are covered under APSR. So whatever APSR has recommended, all of them are following it very judiciously, or very disciplined, in a very disciplined way. So it becomes easy for any contractor. If today you tell a contractor who's working in Muscat to execute a project in Salala, they will say, okay, no problem. We understand what are the requirements are. But what is the municipality requirement? Sorry, we don't know that. So something like what APSR has done for the discounts, similar way something should be done with municipalities. And so this is something that we observe. It's just a opinion that we have, how it
Yes.
can be.
No, no.
And this is actually the things which I have expressed in multiple public forums, that this is the problem which we face, and I think everyone is aware about it. So maybe they are discussing it with municipalities as well.
Yes. And
To
now, Mr. Tiwari, can you share your experience, let's say, on-grid and off-grid system, the hybrid system, in what are the projects that you are doing in your company, and let's say, the appetite in the market for it?
See, actually, we are predominantly active in residential segment. Commercial
Yes.
projects we have done less, mainly because we are the distributors, and Omasco is the distributors for Panasonic as an AC air conditioning brand. So we do almost 300 residential projects every year. So that is already one set of customers that are happy with the company, and we try to work with them to get this product also. We approach this particular product, this, and what are the benefits of solar and all those things. So that helps us gauging that particular segment of market. And commercial market or segment is now picking up. It's picking up, I would say, from the beginning of this year. Has been very good movement, especially I believe after the COVID-19 is slightly going back. So we are getting some good inquiries in the market. So we are now working, or we have done approximately 65 to 70 odd projects, mixed residential and commercial. Commercials are, I think, four or five, not much, and majority of them are residential jobs. The capacity of a residential project can be a 5 kilowatt as well as a 70 kilowatt, depending upon the size, because if the speak or the the participants are not aware this part of the world, you can have a residential building like a palace,
Yeah.
and it can go up to 70 even 100 kilowatts sometimes. So
Okay.
it's not a surprise. I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise, but I'm just telling for the participants. So like this, we have been active, and we pretty much know how the on-grid systems per se. I will just touch upon it. I believe most of the participants would be aware. On-grid systems are the the simple systems that directly connected to the grid. There is no battery backup or anything connected to it, and it directly feeds into the house, the loads of the house. If anything excess is there, I mean, if solar is generating excess power which is not being consumed in the facility, it gets exported. And as what Mohammed explained, that the net metering facility exists for the customers going for captive investment, like self investment for those. So that is something on grid in a nutshell. Off grid is simple, as the name suggests, it's just disconnected from the grid. It's mainly applicable where power failures, or there is inavailability of the grid exists to run a limited load. I would say 5 kilowatt, 10 kilowatt. Sometimes it's easier to do such kind of system, because the battery banks you can control.
Yes.
The more you increase the high, means the capacity of the systems, your battery costs increases. And mostly it's 50 kilowatt, 100 kilowatt systems are rarely seen as far as off-grid systems are concerned. But
Okay.
mainly, like PDOs in their remote areas, they are using such kind of systems. And definitely it's very uh, you know
Companies as well, maybe.
sorry,
Maybe telecom telecom towers as well. Maybe they are using it.
I didn't get you. Sorry.
Telecom tower.
Yes,
Telecom.
exactly. Yes. So those places, where the reach, taking the electricity, taking the grid to that particular remote location is not economical, we can go with off-grid systems. And hybrid system is something, which are actually two types of classifications. One classification is a normal grid-connected system, which functions like an off-grid system in case of power failure. And second is some on-grid systems working along with a diesel generator in a balanced way, and that limits any power fed into the diesel generator.
Yes.
For the first system, when I'm saying it functions like an off-grid system during power failure, it's a relatively new type of product, I would say, in solar, where a PV system can function as on-grid system as well as an off-grid system based on grid availability.
Okay.
And many reliable companies are now coming up with hybrid inverters, which you can connect essential loads to the inverter separately, and
Right.
which can be powered from solar during grid failure. So your solar will keep on functioning, it just disconnect from the grid, and the system will disconnect itself from the power grid when there is no power fed, so that there is no power fed into the grid at the time of failure. And similar kind of systems or technology can be used for commercial applications as well, to minimize the load on the national grid during peak hours. We call it as peak shaving, so that whatever is stored in the battery is utilized for time being, and the customer also gets benefit by avoiding the high peak time tariff.
Excellent.
Coming to second type, which I explained, that working along with diesel generator, this type of solutions have been existing in the solar industry for quite a while now. While especially in high load requirements like factories and large spaces, almost all inverter companies have solutions to control the diesel generator in coordination with the grid power in the event of power failure, whichever scenarios are applicable.
Yeah,
And
it's
in
really,
residential,
it's
we are
really,
also
yeah.
getting into the residential as well. So you have DG synchronizers which keep the system running, and it also protects the diesel generator coils.
Well, that's a great, let's say, another further, let's say, technology advancements, which is
Yeah.
available in Oman market. It's absolutely great to see, the mix of utility scale, the, smaller system, hybrid, off-grid. So
Yeah, these
that's
are small things, which get missed generally, because mostly we talk about utility scale on the bigger side. But these are the small nudgets, I would say, which are there, which
excellent.
exist in all the markets.
Thank you very much for your addition,
Thank you.
Tiwari, and we'll come back to you.
Sure.
Now we will move to Mr. Nat Vora. Are you there with us?
Hey, yeah, Ibrahim, I'm here. I'm here.
Excellent.
Can you guys hear me better? I think I'm trying to make
Yes,
this one.
yes, we
Yeah,
hear you much better. Yeah.
great.
Okay, Mr. Nat Vora is the Chief Financial Officer of Solar Wadi. It's great to have you with us. And yes, you are going to talk about, let's say, one of the most important subjects is the finance. So can you share with us a little bit about your company and later on, what is the financing options available for them, clients and end users in Oman market?
So firstly, let me thank.
We cannot hear you. We see you a little bit, but we cannot see you very well, and we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Some technical challenges. I'm sorry about that. All I was saying was I'm thankful to Solar Quarter for this opportunity. Getting into the financing options. Look, I mean, as in any other business, one of the basic financing availabilities is bank financing. Just get debt from the bank. You have your own funds.
Can you just put the mic on?
Yeah. So basically, bank financing would be the obvious choice. The other choices are, of course, there is the green funds. That in certain cases, private investors. There could be some kind of incentives available from other things. Equipment financing is also something that can be possible because remember in renewables, a major part of the financing is for upfront for the capex. So those options exist. Though Oman is a challenging market again because banks themselves are not yet equipped to finance commercial precise projects, and that's a challenge we face. But as we go along and grow, there are other options available. You can go
Yes.
into the markets and get green bonds. You yourself could become a floater of green bonds, things like that. But traditionally, it has to be investors, equity houses, private equity houses, and banks. That's what's available.
There is no, let's say, for example, in Bahrain right now, we have active developers that they are well backed up by financial institutions that offer very good PPA system or agreement for 20 years without upfront payments. Is the, let's say, developer market is mature in Oman? There is people in this?
So us being developers ourselves,
Yes.
right? But it is for us, there is no set such alliance now with a financial institution or something that is available, and you just go into the projects. You have to go and get the funding, which is possible. Again, like I said, we're right at the stage where solar power, especially in the CNI industry, is picking up and taking off its wings. But we have good support from the local banks here, and our intention is initially to work with the local banks because we're in Oman and this whole thing through an Omani bank.
You talked about a green fund. Can you elaborate on what you mean by green fund?
So typically there is a set of investors that believes in investing in projects that do not pollute or the environment, or they're basically clean funds as they're called, which is using renewables or basically investing in companies that are primarily renewables. Now these private equity houses either have their own funds or they get together funds from private investors.
Okay.
So green funds are basically those that are available to fund clean technology companies.
And do they have some kind of like an advantage in terms of the profit rates or interest rate and so on?
So basically, the idea in going to a green fund would be they are incentivized to lend to the renewable sector, and of course, you expect better rates because again, they are looking for investments in clean technology for which they are willing to offer incentivized rates for them.
Mr. Vora, your company is being as a developer and let's say A to Z installer as well as maintaining solar system. How do you see the market of solar in general impacting the economy, and how it will be, supporting Oman targets of, achieving renewable energy mix plus the CO2 emissions?
So look, I mean, I was just putting some numbers here today. Uh, Oman's target is to have 16% of its total energy requirement coming from solar power. 20% overall, but 16% of that would come from photovoltaic solar plants.
Yeah.
Uh, Oman is committed to net zero by 2050. So
2050.
over 2050, yes, as per the COP26. So
Yeah.
based on that, there is a push towards the renewable sector. Again, like I said, we are in the infancy stage when it comes to the commercial and industrial sector. Solarwadi is the first independent Omani company to be in this sector, which invests, builds, and supports the industry. So it is basically, we see that there is a market, there is a big market available out there, whether it's with projects, whether it's with logistics areas like ports and stuff like that, manufacturing industries, as I said earlier, other industries, malls, things like that. So the market exists. We believe that it's a large market, and we ourselves aim to basically target almost a gig to
From from a financial point of view, it's like what type of a projects or characteristic of projects that you will say, yeah, we would like to fund or we would like to finance. Do you have any criteria or scalability?
So other than the commercial criteria, we are basically looking at projects that where companies have high usage of utilities and would like to find savings on their energy bill. Then there are companies that are incentivized to have a certain portion of their energy requirements coming through clean energy, renewables, solar, mostly in those kind of industries. So we don't have a reference, as we don't have a list that these are the guys we're not going to work with, the guys we're going to
We
work
are open for different projects.
Absolutely, but it has to make commercial sense.
Yes.
And it has to make sense that, there are other things like technical requirements, land. You need a vast amount of land. You need to make sure those are available. What different types of installations are there, whether it's ground, rooftop, parking structures, etc. Like that.
Yes.
So typically, we're not averse to any project of a decent size. But it benefits more companies that have high usage of electricity in their business.
So thank you very much for your contribution, Mr. Matt. I hope, Sengai, are you with us back? You are mute, Sengai.
Oh, finally, yes, I'm very much with you.
I hope when we speak, you don't disappear again.
No, no, no. I was very much peacefully listening all the speakers with a great.
Sengai, if you can continue your discussions about the different, let's say segments, and also I would really appreciate also your input when it's come to the challenges of the market that is there as well, and how you can even push further the deployments of solar in these segments.
Okay, so I will just try to resume where I left or I
Yes.
got disappeared. We were talking about the three segment where we have residential, C&I, and utility scale projects.
Yes.
So when we see the Oman, if we see the whole GCC region, I think Oman is quite big in terms of the area and the population. So we have quite challenging to cover the whole Oman, but thanks to the government and the local authorities, they really prepared very good infrastructures. Now coming back to the adaptation, if we see the whole Oman consumption, which I think already covered by uh, uh, one of the speaker, it is close to 9 to 10 gigawatt.
Yes.
Now, when we see the percentage distribution among these three categories, so obviously residential is always having a much bigger pie or cake, share on the cake, which is
Yes.
close to 40 to 45 percentage. Then we are left with around 17 percentage, which is addressing to the commercial, and industrial is close to 22%. So
Mm.
this is almost covering the 80 to 85%. So now another 15% goes to the governmental, where we have a transportation, ministries, and rest of the governmental segment where they don't contribute to the bill in that way. So
Yes.
adaptation is definitely taken over by the residential C&I, because uh, the reason which I can see, number one, it has been introduced, the Shaheen 1 has been introduced. Just to give you some insight about the initiative taken by the government to the participant, Oman, the grid connection program has been introduced in the mid 27, and government has come up with a Shaheen 1 program. There are two
Yes.
programs. One is Shaheen 1, and second we call Shaheen 2. So Shaheen 1 got introduced in almost at the beginning of 2018, and they have come up with an industrial segment to address. So these are again self invested policies where government has a lot of push to have a good motivation for the industrial or commercial segment. Even they removed the subsidiaries, and also somehow it has been given a great support to the to the solar industry to address these. And Shahim 2 has been catering to the residential segment all over Oman. So now
Okay.
Shaheen 2 is still probably going bit slow. Reason what I can see, the industrial due to the subsidiary has been removed, the rates are become quite high
Mm.
for the industrial segment, and peak hours rates are close to 60 67 baisa, which is 1 to 4 during the daytime. So that
Yes.
is where the whole game lies, and solar can help you in a great way to contribute and probably control, reduce electricity bill. So that
Yes.
is how the industrial segment has been well supported by the solar system in terms of ROI, because ROI we are talking about maybe 4 to 5 years.
Ah, very good. Actually, it's
The
very good.
moment we get into the residential segment, then the whole equation changes, because residential, probably solar system cost may not have a much impact, because the price of the solar will remain same. It may be slightly increased due to the lower installed capacity, but the rates by the governments are not fully subsidized. I mean, still, owners are getting the subsidized rate by the government, so which is average 15 to 20 paisa. So that is where the ROI for the residential not seems to be very attractive. So the conversion rate are low, but at the same time, as an EPC, we see most of the inquiries are coming from the residential segment. So we are somehow putting a lot of time, efforts, even right from the foundation stage to address to the owners, but the conversion somehow we find very low.
Yeah, I think Senga, here where I think for example, the bulk purchases coming on board as innovative idea that reduce the, let's say, the cost of the installation and making it more, let's say, commercially viable. But also, in Bahrain now we have also a discussion about how you redirect the subsidies. So instead of subsidizing all the time, you have let's say your subsidies of 1 year, I can give it to you up front in order to install a solar system. And by that, it's a win-win situation for everybody, for the company, for the government, as well as for the people who will be using, as well as for our environment. Thank you very much, Sengai, for your
Thank you.
input. And now we would like to have any questions from from the audience. If we have, then we will go for any closing remark.
Yes, sir, we have one question. I'll just show on the stage. One second.
Yes.
This question is from Mr. Vora.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this question. Sorry, I saw this question earlier. I've addressed it with them. Look, as a company, right now we are focused more on Oman, but we have one of our shareholders who can help you with these kind of things for the Southeast Asian region.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Further?
That was good. Could you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, excellent. So that's what it is. I see a couple of other questions as well. There is one from Trove Research. Oh, that's my daughter. Sorry. I'll let Vaishali do the management. Yeah, let her do it.
Would you like to answer your daughter's question as well? Should I
Yeah, I mean,
project?
yeah,
Yeah,
let me read. Yeah, you can show the question. It's basically, do you see potential for issuing carbon credits for Omani solar projects? And what is the opportunity to use this as a supplement? Look, I mean, carbon credits are something that everybody looks for in solar projects, right? At the end of the day, we have to have proper regulation and the carbon credit policy stated and announced and regulated in Oman, which is what we're all waiting for. Once that is done, then we will know how the calculation of the carbon credits works, how these carbon credits can be traded, and who can benefit from them. Obviously, there are certain areas that are excluded from carbon credits, but Tanya, as I would say, basically the carbon credits system will help, and it will be incentive to people to install the renewable energy projects. At the same time, it helps the developers commercially to a certain extent, so both parties benefit from it. And we all look forward to the carbon credit policy being announced in Oman, and look forward to it. And it's something that's going to come along with the ESG reporting, as I mentioned before. And it is very important for industries. So let's say there are 100% export industries in Oman. They have certain mandates for requiring a certain percentage of their power from renewables, and they will have to do that. Also, at the same time, the net zero target for Oman is 2050. Over a period of time, there are industries that will be generating carbon and will meet the carbon targets. So we believe that it is an important part of the whole system, and commercially both equals. So I think that answers her question.
there are no more questions, sir.
There's
Ibrahim,
one
sir.
which is from a gentleman from Reconnect Energy Systems, if you can see it. Oh, it's just a marketing term, sorry.
Okay. Ibrahim, sir, do you want to give any concluding remarks or
Yeah,
anything?
I will just leave the floor for all of our speakers to give us a good, let's say, 2 minutes closing remarks. We have learned a lot about Oman and the Oman sector today, but comments, general, remarks are welcome. So we'll start with Mr. Muhammad again.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. I'm come back again. For me, I would say that our solar system here in Oman, its solar sector is growing, and we are expecting big projects is coming back. Also, there is a lot of development and work. Also, it's working in the background in the policies and in the regulations. Um, Recently, we did a lot of work in the application process. We are doing a lot of thinking to solve like some miscommunication between the government bodies, and we are trying our best to make the life easy for all the stakeholders. And I would say that Maybe next Oman Solar Week will be much different, inshallah, much bigger.
It's really appreciative, I would say, from all the speakers of the government. But I will always say that there is always areas for improvement and
Yeah.
better communication. It's more smooth now. I think maybe digitalizations of the processes,
It's better.
digitalizations of the application, having the same requirements across the different municipalities, and the government. I think that will add value. And I
Definitely.
think this is just a gradual, let's say, evolution of the system.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Rahim. Right now we have a big plan, inshallah. Maybe by the next year, start of next year, we have a big merge of all the distribution companies here in Oman, all of them except Bufat. That mean all the policies, all the requirement, all the application will be the same. I will talk about, for example, in Muscat here, we already started doing, we are working on online application process so that it will be everything through an application. No more for emails, and we are trying to our best to make it already connected immediately to the municipality so that it will be solving a lot of time. And we are expecting all the companies will having the same, and hopefully that will minimize the application process, for example. And we are thinking to go ahead, for example, to do some template drawings to make it much easier, especially for small projects, small capacities. It should not take that much time. And I am seeing a lot of mature of contractors coming more and more right now in the sector. We are talking about 50 approved contractor now, and one consultant, solar consultant approved, and we are expecting more and more. And maybe in future, next year, for example, we will have something approved developers list, something like that will be much good, much easier even for the, for the customers, for all the stockholders.
Now,
And we are doing our best, yeah.
this is very encouraging. I think you have really marketed Oman very well in this speech now. Thank you, Mohammed. Really appreciate. Great having you. Mus'ab, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here, Ibrahim. Thank you very much for this informative session. I believe we took a lot from it. But just a couple of remarks. It's a journey, basically. This solar or renewable energy sector, especially in the Middle East, it's I would call it's still a fresh market, still compared to the other markets in the globe. Mistakes are there, but it's most importantly that our mistakes are taken into account and then learned from, and enhancing our learning curve. Hopefully this, inshallah, will be the best, giving the best for all the stakeholders, as Muhammad said, the end users, the clients, the solar contractors as well, and on the other side of the table, the policy makers or the authorities. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mus'ab. Great having you. Thank you very much. Mr. Tiwari?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, just no, it's been a great session. Thank you for organizing this, and it's been really great to listen to all the speakers. And yes, it's like what Musab said, it's a journey, and definitely it's moving in the correct direction, I can say. And future is with solar is always bright, and there is no secret that Oman has massive solar energy potential, which awaits to be utilized. And we all are very positive, and as what I said, things are moving in the very right direction, and we are looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your valuable contribution. Mr.
Thank you.
Singhal?
Yeah, thank you to all the participants, and my thanks to Oman Solar. They have taken the initiative, and we all got to this particular platform to discuss, to contribute, to share all our learnings, which has been a great thought. On a solar, actually for us, the journey is already from last so many years, because we are almost 30-year-old in this market. And I think the one observation which I would like to bring into the panel, even to the participant, the off-grid solutions are also having a great potential, especially to the oil and gas sector, and that's how probably we are surviving in the market. Otherwise, how we would have been uh, uh, you know uh, uh, adding values to this industry. So that is one of the area where we are in fact quite successful, and we are our systems are quite well designed and performing well, and that's how we are able to do the justice with the industry, because before 2016-17 there was no grid connect, so there was nothing to do for the solar installer. But we
Yes.
has been coming from those days, and now we are seeing a lot of activities and great initiatives has been taken by the government to promote, to support, to a grid connected industry in the market, which has been a great initiative. Just to highlight some of the challenging phase which we all are facing, or we all are going through. Uh, During the COVID, we were all having some common reasons from the supplier because of the COVID system. I know our deliveries are getting delayed. It is affecting the whole factories are closed, or all those some shutdown, or these reasons. Now, after COVID, the post-COVID, we were hoping things will improve. It will help us. It will, the deliveries will improvise. Even the prices will be more aggressive, will be more supportive. But looks like it is going even more difficult time for EPCs or installers like us. We take the project, somehow we manage to win the business, and then eventually we see the price increase, or during the journey we see there is a delay in the execution or the deliveries of the material, which is really giving us very very hard time. I am still trying to understand the equation from the manufacturer why this all is happening, but they have their own internal reason. But I wish this can be somehow fixed, and which give us some room to move forward and probably work well with the industry. So thanks to all. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim, for
Thank
taking
you.
us into the panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Again, Mr. Bora.
Hey, Ibrahim, thank you. Again, first thing, like I said earlier, I'm really happy that Solar Quarter has organized this Oman Solar Week. It has given an opportunity for all of us on the panel to get together, network. Also for participants who are here to get some idea on the regulations, how Oman works, what are the ground realities in Oman for the renewable sector. So thank you for that. For me, I'd like to speak more about non-commercial things. Like I believe that today, as humanity, we need to focus more on sustainability at every end. Renewables is a part of it, and I really want, as I said, this is my journey of redemption. So for my journey of redemption as well, I urge people that please focus as much as you can on moving to the renewable sector. Uh, it's imperative, right? It's not a choice anymore.
So,
On the
some
other
states
hand,
they are saying that sustainability is the second oil now.
absolutely. At the end of the day, what is the point of all the money in the world if there's no planet, right? Or a destroyed planet? Just think about that
Yes.
and pull out the stops that we can in any way that we can to
No, actually, the facilities now of deploying solar is nothing, nothing like it actually. Finance is available, roof are available, solar is available, stakeholders available. So there is actually no excuse of not, benefiting from this, industry. Well, by ending of the session, again, I would like really to thank all the speakers. We have spoken about the regulation, the current regulation in Oman. We spoke about the EPC capabilities, the challenges in the market, and also how to, having finance for the project and different financing options. Again, thank you very much, all, and back to you.
So before we go, we have two questions for Mr. Mohammed. Mr. Somebody has asked in the chat box that when it is expected for the distribution companies restructure to be finalized.
I would say we are talking about the quarter 1 next year. I would say that, but that is not final. Maybe this is will make it might change. We don't know, but the official thing that it should be quarter 1 next year.
Okay, and also there is another question. Are you planning to have vendors approved list?
Vendor approved list. You mean the material approved list or what? You mean
Maybe.
this? Okay. Or right now, okay, we have a sister company called the DCRP, which is a review code panel, which actually approve the material, the contractor who it should be should be like approved list there for some solar. We might have in the future if we have like bulk tenders for customer, maybe we'll have something similar to this. Maybe we're not sure.
So I think, Vaishali, the question was on vendors. Mohammed, they were asking if there would be vendors approved list. And
No,
the answer is
no.
simple. You already have one on the ABDC website.
DCRB, we have DCRB. No, we have DCRB. Sorry, I thought it's about material. That's fine.
Okay, that's it, sir. No more questions. So should we end this?
I'm happy. It was a great session. Thank you very much.
That was good.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much to our esteemed panel for this wonderful session, and a very special thanks to Ibrahim sir for superbly managing the discussion. The show is not over yet. We are taking a short networking break and we'll be back with another exciting session in just 15 minutes. Explore our networking lounge and network with your peers till then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Master.